How's it going, everybody? So, a little bit of a longer video today. I want to show you how I typically like to defend a bomb site on CS2 using Inferno B site as an example. So I typically like to break down the round into 3 phases: the early, mid, and late round. So right off spawn, especially on this bomb site in particular, you're going to want to be figuring out how you want to handle the early round and how you want to contest banana. So there's a couple of approaches that I like to use. I like to kind of break this down into 2 approaches. So I like to do an aggressive banana take and more of a reactive banana take. And so for the aggressive banana take, typically you're going to end up wanting to molly off this position here to where it's going to spread into both sides, have a smoke that lands here, and then a couple of flashes paired with an early HE to where you're able to ensure that you're able to get full control here just like this. So now I'm going to go ahead and break down all of that utility for you so that you'll know how to throw it in a game. So if you want to throw all of this yourself, you can start off by coming right along this left wall here, looking up towards the top of this balcony and doing a middle click run throw to where it's going to land right here at the perfect timing, almost at head height, doing a ton of damage. And for those of you that don't know, a middle click throw is where you release left and right click at the same time, so it's not going to have quite as much velocity. So right after you throw that HE, you're then going to come right here into this corner, and then do a simple left click throw right at this big cluster of lights right here. There's kind of 3 all together. You do a simple left click and it's going to go right here, spread all the way into this corner, and then it should spread all the way and fill in both sides right here. It can be a bit inconsistent at times, so be careful, kind of practice it and figure out the lineup and how it works for you. And of course, right after you throw that molly, I generally will step back and then do a run throw by aiming right at this window and going really deep here with the smoke to where it'll smoke off bottom banana just like this. So now I'll go ahead and show you what this looks like in a very quick succession. So ideally, I'm coming around this corner with the best spawn. I'm throwing this HE, this molly, and then of course this smoke to hopefully not extinguish it, and boom, just like that, I'm able to peek out with some supporting flashes from my teammates and not have to worry about these corners here and only focus on people that have had to push through this molly. Some good flashes for this include standing right here in front of this little pillar and just left clicking at the top of the chimney. That's a good flash that's going to blind anyone standing out here, especially if they're up front. That flash is going to come in and destroy them. They're going to have time to look away, but hey, if you peek with it, they're going to be turned. It's going to give them a disadvantage. A teammate can also stand anywhere along this side and just do a middle click jump throw at this sign. It's going to do pretty much the exact same thing, so whatever they prefer, but that is kind of the set for an aggressive banana take. It's also worth mentioning that if you're standing here throwing all this utility, it's great to have a teammate come up into this position to hold the corner just in case they decide to blast through your Molotov and run up into top car. And if they've been showing a lot of aggression, you can get a teammate to just go ahead and molly off the close half wall here. Although I would say most times when you're playing against a good team, they're going to be throwing this molly for you. They're going to be mollying off the car peak for you. So whenever they're doing that, just don't waste your molly here and hold on to it for a late round play. So now let's talk about a little bit more of a passive reactive approach to banana control. So I'm still going to come along this wall. I'm still going to throw that same grenade that I'm throwing every single round, you know, to still condition them not to just be too aggressive. However, we're going to wait and see what they do. Instead of immediately coming and throwing the molly in the smoke, we're going to wait, you know, see what they're throwing. So if they immediately are throwing, you know, flashes up towards half wall, if they're mollying off car and that sort of thing, or throwing a top smoke, we're just going to fall back and we're going to give them that control and try to retake top car a little bit later on in the mid round. But if they're not showing much presence, they're not throwing much utility, and they're being very passive on banana, we're going to take that space that they give us. So, you know, after 10 or 15 seconds, if there's not really much going on, you can just go ahead and throw the smoke, go back in here, throw that exact same molly as the aggressive take, get a teammate to flash you, and you can peek in and still try to take the space and work with it since they're not really pressuring, right? But again, it's just kind of depending on what they're doing. That's why I call it more of a reactive approach. Instead of just saying, hey, we're going to play passive this round, you might as well go and see what they're going to give you. If it's going to be really easy to take, you might as well take it. So now that we've made it past the early round, let's talk about the mid round. So if you've taken that aggressive banana control, ideally you've got this position here smoked off and you've got a lot of room to work with. So one of the best things that you can do when you have all this control is you can send one of the B players all the way over to A to help take some map control on that side that you otherwise wouldn't be able to do since you have 4 players over there. Now, if you're the lone banana player, you may not want to be playing up close. Even though this is a really powerful angle, you're probably going to get traded out. You're not going to be able to multi-frag, and if they kill you, if all of your teammates are over towards A, they're going to get sight for free. So if you're the lone man back, instead of playing up close like that, you may want to just play more information by just jump spotting here on top car, and once you see them, maybe throwing a smoke or a molly to delay, falling back and waiting for a rotate. On the other hand, if you've taken more of a passive approach to banana control and the enemies have maybe even top car in the mid round, what I like to do is position back here with a teammate up close. And once any sort of contact is made over on A site, or hey, maybe you just feel like you have a timing, you feel like they're up on car, they've given you some sound cues, what you can do is get positioned right here into this corner, find this little black leaf right here and throw a smoke grenade into it first, then a Molotov, and you can step throw a little flash like this to where your teammate can peek up into top car, and anyone standing here has had to get pushed out either up forward into this flashbang and killed by a teammate, or all the way back here through the smoke, giving you a ton of banana control once again. Another great car retake set, this was by Wraith, I'll link that video down in the description, but you go into this corner right here on the fountain, jump throw at the top left of this window with a smoke, pull out your molly, and then jump throw right here at this position on the wall. And as you can see, you're gonna have car fully mollied off like this to where you're able to peek out, and there's really nowhere for any of these players to be, so it just fully gives you car control once again. So now let's talk about the late round. So the most important thing for late round Counter-Strike is to make sure that throughout the early and mid round, you've saved enough utility to be able to stop whatever hit is coming in. If you'll notice, in each of these setups that I've given you, I've really only been showing off one Molotov and one smoke from the B players, right? So what that's gonna be, say you take that early aggression, if you'll notice, I only showed one Molotov and one smoke so that the other B player still has his utility to hang on to. And if you deem it necessary to use more utility, definitely have an A player come early and drop an extra molly and a smoke for you, because generally the B players need more utility than the A players. So in that case, you just want to make sure whoever is kind of the B anchor, the one that's going to be back here late round, they need to have a molly and smoke accessible. So figure that out in your setups. You just want to have enough utility to stop a push late round. So once you're in that situation, generally what I like to do is if I'm like the only player on B, maybe I've had to rotate over to A, or let's say my B partner's gotten picked. If I'm the solo man, I'm just going to be sitting here on coffin and just jiggling, right? I'm just going to be waiting and watching. And the second I see someone swing across, I'm going to go back here and I'm going to bank a molly off of this position here to where it lands like this, to where it spreads out and it fully mollies them off. And the reason I throw it so far up like this is if I've just spotted someone and then I throw it deep, it's very easy for them to just run through this without taking much damage. If I throw it further up, it's going to take a little bit longer. They're going to be a bit more isolated. That's why I'll generally throw it like that. Right after I throw that molly, if I have a smoke, I'm going to right click, throw a smoke into this corner of the fountain here, to where whenever they smoke or molly off coffins, I'm able to push up into this corner and take this angle, wait for flashes from my teammates, and slowly, methodically peek all of these positions here. I can clear off second, first, top, oranges, and then I can peek out and take fights on people coming across into pool and just isolate good individual fights incrementally all the way around. Now, I'm going to show you a great example of that I actually pulled off in the ESEA Open League earlier this week.
We need rotates.
Yes, bomb. One more.
Got him. Dead.
Nice.
So yeah, hopefully this video helps you understand how to hold down the B site on CS2 Inferno a little more effectively, and how to take banana control without it being too expensive and at the cost of late round holds.